Please help me welcome to the stage a fierce advocate, a transformational coach, and a voice of hope for anyone facing the storm of divorce, of custody battles. She's the founder of Settle for More, author of Pathway to Peace, and a guiding light for personal empowerment. Again, please help me welcome Julie Kelly.
So, my name is Julie Kelly, and I am a litigation paralegal with over 30 years of courtroom experience, a Success Principles trainer, and a person who has endured an 18-year-long legal battle of her own that was just absolutely brutal. So, I'm here today because one simple formula, E plus R equals O. That's event plus response equals your outcome. Jack teaches this as a fundamental principle to allow you to have the life that you truly want. And I would like to share with you how this principle saved my life. I was 8 weeks pregnant with our unborn child, our second. He was our son. We had an 18-month-old daughter, and we lived in a 2-condo small home on the beach. We only had 650 square feet inside of each condo. My husband at the time was a bodybuilder, a physician, and someone really powerful and very intimidating to me. He had an exact routine every morning before he went to work. He had V8, coffee, orange juice, exact order. That Friday, I returned back from the shopping for the day, but I had no idea that he would be drinking the rest of the orange juice that night and there would be none left for him the next morning. Who knew? The next day was even more surprising. He got up for work. He came flying through the bedroom door at 6 o'clock in the morning, just screaming at me and demanding, "Where's the orange juice? Why is there no orange juice?" And I was so stunned, as always, because this was my normal. And so I gathered myself up and I was trying to get out of bed, and he stunned me, he startled me, and I was gonna go grab the baby, go to the store, get him his orange juice so that he would not be screaming at me. I told him I was doing this, and then he said, "Just forget it. I'll be gone by the time you get back anyway." He followed this up with, "I have no idea how you even graduated high school. You are so incompetent." And off he went. And this is normal. This was a normal thing for us. This was my life. And up to this point, he'd always explained away why I deserved that. It was my fault that I deserved to be for him. He's like, "You made me do it." Okay. And I believed him. But this time, I just could not wrap my head around it because I thought this was a very extreme reaction to orange juice, just orange juice. So I went down and I was getting ready to clean the downstairs condo for summer rentals. And I had our 18-month-old daughter with me, and I just started sitting in that moment and I thought, orange juice? Really? You're gonna lose your mind over orange juice? And this whole time, up until this point in time, all the abuse had been directed to me, and it still was. And I kept thinking, I will keep our family together. I will keep the children, have father, mother, all the things. But this just hit me, and I just thought, this is nuts. And I was thinking to myself, it just dawned on me that if I actually stayed, because I was thinking, should I stay, should I go? I had this whole question that a lot of you might have that question. I don't know. Or you probably know someone who has that situation. So in this moment, I just started to think about it, that what I would be doing if I stayed is I would be role modeling for our daughter to grow up to become a victim by my example. And our unborn son would grow up to become an abuser. No. Hard no. That was never, ever going to happen. I could not tolerate that. So it was that moment that I made a decision that I was no longer going to stay in this abusive marriage. And I knew it would come with consequences and retaliation. 100% I knew it, but I knew that if I stayed, it just didn't matter. It'd be one way or the other. It was going to be hard no matter what. I decided this was the best option. So later on that afternoon, he came home and he bounced in and he like acted as if nothing happened. And I was just stunned. I was so angry in that moment. So I couldn't even acknowledge him. And he's like, well, what's the matter with you? And I said, well, I think it's pretty insane that you had such a severe reaction to the fact that there was no orange juice for you this morning that you drank last night, and you're now blaming me one more time. I'm sorry, but I can't stay here. I can't stay here, and I'm not going to take your abuse anymore. Well, that was a first, because I had never stood up to him before, because I'd always, he's big, I'm small, and he's a medical doctor, and I'm a litigation paralegal, and he always made me know that he's this and I'm this. So I stood up to him, and he was not used to that, and he went into a blind rage. We were standing in our kitchen, and I don't think he knew what to do, but he absolutely terrified me what came next. He reared up with his huge arms, and he was actually looked like he was going to hit me. He was just spitting at me. It was crazy. And I was over here, and I looked at him, and he'd always been so careful not to hit me, because then he knew I would have evidence. He knew if I had a broken bone or a black eye or some sort of physical evidence that I could use that against him, and then he couldn't hide this abuse anymore. But he did terrify me, and I thought I was brave, and then he came at me like this. And so instinctively, he's here, and I just turned away and I cowered down one more time, as I usually did. And I thought, for sure, if he loses control this time and he actually hits me, he most certainly will kill our child, our 18-month-old child, and our unborn child that he didn't know about yet. It was in that moment, and I said, we're done. So the next thing I did was I took action. So first I changed my R. Instead of reacting to him all the time, I started responding. And that is the moment that changed everything, changed the outcome. So then I started packing. I was terrified of him. He had threatened to kill me if I left him or cheated on him or any of these things. There's threats all the time. I was constantly living under threats. So we didn't have laundry, and so I would take a trash bag, and I would put our belongings into a trash bag. Every day I took a trash bag, and I snuck out of this home, and I left. We were leaving one day at a time. It took me about a month to do it, but I was so scared because we were really close in California. Things are tight. You don't have a lot of space or anything like that, and people are always watching. But I just kept this image of this movie shining through when they're escaping Nazi Germany. That's how petrified I was. And I was terrified that he would find me. And one person actually, one of the renters did notice and actually said something to me. And I'm like, oh, please don't tell him. Please don't say anything. It was awful. But eventually, after about a month, I got all of our belongings. All the drawers were empty. The closets were empty because he paid no attention to us, except for when he wanted to, I guess. I moved everything away, and then I saved enough money, and I bought a one-way ticket, and we left. We fled. And I was so relieved to get off that plane and just know that he couldn't find me. Well, he couldn't hurt me anymore. But I knew that the fight was on, and that's why this decision was so hard. So what came next was an 18-year-long domestic violent, vicious legal battle where he had endless resources to wage a war against me in the court system, and he did absolutely everything. His attorneys came after me for everything all the time for years and years and years and years. Even though he intimidated me, I had a superpower. The one thing that I had was an undying love for our children. And that was my favorite role in life, was to be a mother. And so that was my superpower. And every single time that I was terrified, I would think about it. Every time I thought about killing myself because I couldn't take the pain, I would think about my children. And they saved me. So when I tell you that I've experienced everything, I literally have. And I've also done it for all of our clients as well. 18 years later, when my son it was Mother's Day, he gave me a letter that I cherish. And I locked it away in the safe, but I read this letter and he said, "Dear Mom," he said, "everything that I learned about being a good parent, I learned from you. Everything I learned from my dad is what not to do." And right there, that validated everything that I had fought for. That empowered me. It was a powerful outcome because I made one decision to choose a different path. Everyone has decisions that they make all the time. And this is the power of changing your R for your life. So we broke the generational chains of abuse. This past year, our daughter got married. And we were doing all the running around and all the things that you do when you get married. We were driving down the street and she just casually said to me, "Mom, I want you to walk me down the aisle." What? I had to pull the car over because that was such an honor for her, once-in-a-lifetime event, for me to be the one to walk her down the aisle. I couldn't believe it. These gifts that I've received from my children and the humans that they are now, who are amazing and strong and kind and loving and funny. We had the best time at her wedding. We danced and we partied and we played, and her dad was there, and he looked so small to me when he used to be so big, because he missed it. He missed everything. He missed their life. He didn't know their friends. He didn't even know her husband's first name, and they share the same first name. That's pretty ridiculous. So if you know somebody that you can, if you're someone who can relate to this, or if you know somebody who's in this sort of a situation, I think we all know someone, or we do know that this is an epidemic and a big problem. I've created a place for you to find someone who understands what you're going through, to hold your hand. And if you need help, I want to help you because I truly understand what you are going through. I understand it from the legal side, I understand it from the client side, and I want to help you. And if that's something that you or someone you know needs, please find me at my website. It is subtleformorewithjulie.com. If you change your R, you might just change your life. Thank you so much.